Good day, everyone. So, today I'd like to present a concise overview of a pivotal moment in entertainment history, the acquisition of Pixar by the Walt Disney Company.
I am Decidel Diaz and I am assigned to the Section 1, Company's Background. Two giants of animation, the Pixar Animation Studios and the Walt Disney Company, came together to transform the world of storytelling. So, Pixar began in 1986, born from Lucasfilm's graphics group and purchased by Steve Jobs. So it is shifted from selling hardware to creating animated films, capturing attention with Luxo Jr., and revolutionizing cinema with Toy Story. So the first full-length CGI film, led by John Lasseter and Jobs. Pixar emphasizes innovation and powerful storytelling, producing a string of award-winning films that set a new standard in animation. Meanwhile, Disney, founded in 1923 by Walt and Roy Disney, so became iconic with the characters like Mickey Mouse and films like Snow White, Cinderella, and The Lion King. But by the ni- but by the early 2000s, Disney Animation Division struggled against rising CGI competitors, so especially Pixar. So in 2006, Disney acquired Pixar, combining creative excellence with global reach. So the partnership revitalized Disney's animation legacy and cemented Pixar's influence in cinematic history.
The acquisition of Pixar by the Walt Disney Company was structured as an all-stock transaction valued at approximately $7.4 billion, with Pixar shareholders receiving 2.3 shares of Disney stock for each Pixar share. After accounting for Pixar's $1 billion in cash reserves, the net value of the deal was around $6.3 billion. The structure was tax efficient and aligned Pixar shareholders' interests with Disney's future. A major outcome was the appointment of Steve Jobs, Pixar's majority shareholder, to Disney's board of directors. Jobs agreed to vote 40% of Pixar shares in favor of the deal, easing its approval. Operationally, Pixar president Ed Catmull became president of both animation studios, and John Lasseter took on the role of the chief creative officer, also contributing to Disney theme parks. Importantly, Pixar's creative culture was preserved by maintaining its independent operations in Emeryville, while Disney Animation remained in Burbank. The acquisition not only brought together top talent and leadership, but also gave Disney full control over Pixar's future content and characters, boosting its ability to monetize through films, merchandise, games, and parks. Overall, the acquisition strategically revitalized Disney's animation division and ensured a steady stream of high-quality content. In 2006, the Walt Disney Company acquired Pixar Animation Studios in a strategic move to revitalize its animation division and secure long-term growth. At the time, Pixar had become a leader in CGI animation with hits like Toy Story and The Incredibles, while Disney's traditional animation was stagnating. The two companies had a long-term partnership, but creative tensions over control, sequels, and revenue strained their relationships, prompting Pixar to consider other studios. The acquisition resolved these conflicts by giving Disney full ownership of Pixar's intellectual property while allowing Pixar to maintain creative autonomy. Key Pixar leaders, John Lasseter and Ed Catmull, took on senior roles at Disney Animation, helping preserve Pixar's innovative culture. This not only strengthened Disney's CGI capabilities but also boosted its competitive position against studios like DreamWorks. Financially, the all-stock deal made Steve Jobs Disney's largest individual shareholder and brought him onto Disney's board, aligning leadership and shareholder interests. Ultimately, the acquisition enhanced Disney's storytelling power, streamlined production and distribution, and reinforced its leadership in global animation.
Let's move into Section 4, Financial and Accounting Analysis. In 2006, the Walt Disney Company acquired Pixar Animation Studios through an all-stock transaction worth around $7.5 billion. Disney at the time issued 2.3 shares for each Pixar share, creating about 279 million new shares. After adjusting for Pixar's cash and investments, the net value came to roughly $6.4 billion. This wasn't just a business deal, it was a strategic shift, one that reshaped Disney's creative and financial future. So the deal was closed on May 5th, 2006, and Steve Jobs became Disney's largest individual shareholder. At the time, Disney's animation was struggling, stuck in 2D, while Pixar led the charge in digital storytelling. This acquisition gave Disney the boost it needed and aligned perfectly with its goal of creating world class content using cutting edge technology and expanding globally. From an accounting perspective, the acquisition used the purchase method under US GAAP, so US generally accepted accounting principles. Disney recorded $5.6 billion in goodwill. That's right, nearly 75% of the total value. This goodwill reflected Pixar's brand value, creative edge, and future synergy. It was allocated as follows. So there is 4.8 billion to studio entertainment, 600 million to consumer products, and 200 million to parks and resorts. This goodwill isn't amortized, but is tested for impairment each year. Disney also recognized 233 million in other intangible assets, including 184 or 164 million for Pixar's trademarks. The rest of the purchase price covered physical assets such as film libraries and technology. On a pro forma basis, had Pixar been part of Disney all year, total revenue would have been $24.3 billion and net income of $3.4 billion. Earnings per share would have jumped to 1.52 from 1.24. This shows that the acquisition was accretive and added shareholder value. So there were a few one-time charges too, like for example, the $48 million gain from ending Disney's all deal with Pixar and a $26 million impairment from canceled projects. While minor, these highlight the complexities of merging creative teams. So, to sum this up, in short, this acquisition was more than just numbers, obviously. It was a transformative move that strengthened Disney's financials and redefined its creative future.
So now we will proceed to the section number 5, which is the impact on the shareholders. So in January 2006, the Walt Disney Company announced a move that would reshape the landscape of animated film. Its plan to acquire Pixar Animation Studio. The acquisition had far-reaching implications for the leadership of both companies. So Steve Jobs, who owned 50.1% of Pixar, became Disney's largest individual shareholders with a 7% stake. He joined Disney board of directors, a major shift in the company's power structure. His stake surpassed that of former CEO Michael Eisner and Roy E. Disney himself. However, Tuck stepped down from his role as Pixar chairman and CEO. So his place to other key figures rose to prominent position. So John Lasseter, a Pixar executive vice president and co-founder, was named chief creative officer of both Pixar and Walt Disney Animation Studio. He also became principal creative advisor at Walt Disney Imagineering, the branch behind Disney theme park design. So Ed Catmull, already serving as president of Pixar, took on additional duties as president of Walt Disney Animation Studio. Both he and Lasseter reported to Disney CEO Bob Iger and Walt Disney Studios chairman Dick Pope. So additionally, Jim Morris, producer of Wall-E, became Pixar general manager. So these carefully crafted leadership transition ensure that Pixar creative identity remain intact. Of course, integrating two distinct corporate culture came with challenges, but the result was a stronger, more unified Disney, one that reaffirmed its commitment to quality, storytelling, and long-term growth. So today, the 2006 Disney Pixar merger is remembered not only as a smart business move, but as a landmark moment in entertainment history.
Again, I am Decidel Diaz, not assigned with Section 6, which composed of conclusion and recommendation. In 2006, Disney acquired Pixar, a move that changed the animation industry forever. So with Disney's animation division strategically, Pixar brought cutting-edge CGI, fresh stories, and creative talent. So the deal preserved Pixar's independence while fueling Disney's revival. So the result, Oscar-winning films, global hits, and a new era of storytelling that blended innovation with emotional depth. So there are five recommendations that we list. Mm, pri- Prioritize cultural compatibility, retain and empower key talent, promote collaborative innovation, balance business with creativity, and reinforce, not replace. So, future mergers should follow Disney's example by respecting creative cultures, retaining top talent, and focusing on collaboration, not control. The Disney Pixar merger wasn't just a business deal, it was a creative alliance, one that reshaped animation and set a new standard for strategic growth.